Hey guys, Johnny from Ignite here. Thanks for tuning in to a brand new video on our channel. Today we're going to be looking at my #1 tip for writing an effective introduction. It's a very important tip. Listen closely. But before you do that, please make sure you subscribe to our channel. Do that now for me if you can. And then click the bell so you're notified of all our latest videos. One last thing I want you to do, if you can please, is check out ignitehsc.com.au. That is where our most extensive HSC resources are all centralized there for you, ready to help you achieve your best results in English, modern history, legal studies, economics, business. We're gonna have maths there. I don't know if it's there at the time of this video, but we are trying to bring you so much value for all of the subjects for HSC. So check out the website when you can. So I'm going to give you my #1 tip for writing an effective introduction. And while I will tell you some words that will help you achieve this, I need to start with the purpose. We need to look at what the purpose is of an introduction to know how you would effectively execute a good introduction. So what are we trying to do with an introduction of an essay, especially for English? We are trying to communicate an argument. We're trying to articulate a tension, and tension is the key word here. Yes, you're trying to make an argument, but the argument has to be in the context of a tension. Something has to be out of balance that you're exploring. You want to explore that imbalance between two forces. That's what a good introduction is generally going to do. So what needs to be super clear in the introduction is what that tension is. Of course, this is going to depend on the question you get and of course the text you are studying. But whatever concepts that are most relevant to the text whatever those concepts are, you need to identify the key tensions within those concepts, within those conceptual frameworks. So to give you an example to make this a bit simpler to understand, if I was going to write an essay on power because the text I was studying was about power, I first of all don't want to simply say this text explores power. You never want to say a theme word like that and then end the sentence. You need to actually offer a perspective or an insight on that idea. So we can use the words power and powerful and disempowerment. We can use all of those terms, but we want to use them in the context of a larger phrase. You need to give us a larger phrase that actually articulates a perspective on power. Tell us something interesting, but tell us a tension. I need to know what the tension is about power. So for example, if I've studied a text and there is a tension between people wanting to get into power, but then when people get into power, them being corrupted, that's the tension I'm going to explore in the first couple of sentences of my introduction. We do want to signpost, we say signpost, which is foreground, all of the points that we're going to make in each of the body paragraphs. But before we do that, and perhaps right at the end of the introduction as well, we need to articulate the key tension that is relevant to the whole essay. So when we're talking about power, my thesis might come out with a statement about the human ego yearns for power. There's a good first sentence. The human ego yearns for power, full stop. That's an effective first sentence of an essay as well because it's short, sharp, but meaningful and impactful. So if you can think of a short sentence like that, that would help. So the human ego yearns for power. However, when that power is pursued, it often corrupts the individual, thus depriving them of their true essence as a human. Okay, so we lose our best human characteristics, you could argue, when we are corrupted by power, okay, because power does corrupt. So do you see how I'm exploring a tension there in those two sentences? And how have I facilitated that exploration? Through the word however. What are some other words that you can use? And please write these down. However, yet, nonetheless, nevertheless. On the other hand, contrastingly, right? I prefer the first few that I said there, however, and yet, you can actually say as well, to create that more authentic expression almost, and yet, right? You could start it, or you could do that after a comma as well. Another way you can frame the sentence in order to articulate a tension, which again is the #1 tip here, you need to present a tension about whatever you are going to explore, and this can be done in 1 or 2 sentences before signposting the things that you are going to explore in the body paragraphs. Another way to do it is to actually begin with a word such as whilst or although, because those words are going to force you to actually put a comma at the end of the first point and then introduce the other point which is at odds with the first point. For instance, whilst or although the human ego yearns for power, comma, that power often corrupts the individual, full stop. So in a very short sentence there, with the comma in the middle, because I started it with whilst or although, it's forcing me to address the tension straight away. So start sentences where you can, especially in your thesis, which is where you're presenting this argument from the outset in your introduction. Try and start them with words such as whilst, whereas, although, and then also try and use, if you don't do that, start the second sentence with however, right? However, yet, or and yet, nonetheless, okay? Words like that. Try and use that set of words if you're going to do that in the second sentence. So that's the key tip. It sounds so simple, use those words, but they're going to force you to do what you should do, which is to explore a tension. There's no value to an argument if you're not telling us anything insightful. And insights come from exploring a complication, a complexity in human nature. That's the kind of insight we want to see in the introduction, and the way to do that is to present a tension using the words, using the framing that I've explored in this video. All right, I hope that helps you guys with framing your introductions, giving you some inspiration for how you could go about those first two sentences or the first one sentence if you do that other way. If you enjoyed the video, please do like, comment with other videos that you'd like us to make, comment with your thoughts or other ideas about how you could establish this tension. And most importantly, please do subscribe to the channel, click that bell, and check out ignitehsc.com.au, where our most extensive resources are all embedded there, waiting for you to see. All right, thanks everyone. I'll see you in the next video.